Do you remember being fresh out of school, filled with that wide-eyed wonder of a child, right? Just like this picture here, being so optimistic, so youthful, and believing that construction, being in design, being in this industry is going to be just fantastic. I totally agree with you that it is. And this is exactly what we thought we would be building. We would be building cities, skyscrapers, doing all of this really cool stuff. And we're actually building schools, right? This is a high school. We're building these schools, but it could be as, silly or as innocuous as a bathroom renovation. We thought it'd be a party, right? A good time, like New Year's, all the time. But what it actually looks like is being alone at night, long hours, high stress, and really just problematic. This is the biggest thing that we run into in this industry. We're working long hours, doing very technical and difficult tasks and pieces as an engineer. Going to the office for me, this is actually one of the offices that I used to work in. We worked on the second floor there. And one of the things that I found going into this office, so I walked across the street to get to this office and took about 15 minutes. And it was a nice walk. It was I lived in an apartment complex at the time, lived across the street, didn't want to really drive or anything like that. So I walked over across the street to this office. We were on the second floor, and there was a big, long hallway that I took down to get into the office. And through that little corridor, that little hallway that I walked down, it just felt like I was going to battle. Felt like war every single day. And frankly, that's not a good way to live. It's not a good way to, I was feeling like King Leonidas, and what dragons would I have to slay today? What problems would I have to come up against? It was just a not good scenario day in and day out. And I ultimately had one question. Why do I feel this way, and what can I ultimately do about it? I'm Dylan Mitchell. I've done a few million square feet of design, primarily all in Revit, licensed in 6 states, worked for AE firms, MEP firms, right? So combined architecture and engineering, solely MEP firms, led project teams both as an electrical department director and as an MEP director. But my life changed when I was 2 days away from going on vacation. So this is beautiful Maui, Hawaii. The water is perfectly warm, perfect temperature, like all the time. There's nice, beautiful coral reefs, tons of fish, the occasional dolphin off the shore. But 2 days before I was supposed to go on this vacation, I had recently taken a new job and was doing healthcare design. Healthcare is something that I have, at that point, never designed before. And I got thrown into a 30 operating room project. This project was, again, something I never done. Now I was hired as a senior engineer. I got assigned as a MEP team leader project manager, as well as leading the electrical department. So there goes, increased responsibilities and roles with no increase in pay, longer hours. Needless to say, I was stressed and trying to get this project wrapped up through DDs at this point to go on vacation, to then come back and deal with it. Vacation was not all sunshine and rainbows. It really felt like Mordor and the pits of Mount Doom here. I got shingles. So because of all that stress, because of all that anxiety that I felt in designing these projects and just everything being piled on top of me, I ended up getting shingles. It's a stress triggered thing. Also from the just years, right, of walking into that office, feeling like war every single day, right? That stress compounds, it builds up, and this was kind of the breaking point. So now here I am sitting on this beautiful beach, and no drinks, no niceties that you would typically associate with vacation, right? No Mai Tais on the beach. This was super painful. Here I am taking antivirals, ibuprofen, just painful, miserable during this whole experience. And it is not something I would ever recommend to anybody or wish on my worst enemy. It is horrible, just an awful, awful experience. So through this, I was asking the same one question, right? What can I do? What can get me out of this place? How can I find solutions, not problems, right? I felt like Atlas and the world on my shoulders here, but how can I find a solution and not just keep coming up with problems? A quick little history lesson here. This is how people used to design buildings, right? At drafting tables, and you just have huge rooms filled with this. I never personally experienced this, but this is what all the guys that have been around a while told me, and they had their own drafting tables. So you've got this way of doing things. Now in the 90s, right, we've got, you might have been in one of these, early 2000s, or, Cube Farm, which many of us have worked in, right? See those big old CRT monitors there, but you're basically in a Cube Farm. Today, really, maybe you might still be in some of these, but really we're all at desks. We've all got our individual computers. It really hasn't changed all that much in how we work and operate. Yeah, we went from drafting tables here to architectural desktop and AutoCAD, and now we're working with BIM models. Very similar process still, from big concept to detailed design at the end of the day, right? That's the process that we're working through. And again, we've gone from these drafting tables to AutoCAD and now into Revit, right? You can see this, here's drafting tables, Revit, and then into BIM models and all those transitions. And ultimately, little has changed. But how do we get better? This process. How do we not be so stressed? How do we not be so, fixated or problematic on how we get through this project, to work those super long hours, those nights and weekends alone in the office? How do we get better and not have to deal with that? Really, this some simple things, right? We want to save time. We want to live a better life. We want to reduce stress. We want to improve health. And this also goes to the bottom line, right? Financial health is a big, big part of that. When we look at this, right, we have a fixed fee for service. That is the architectural and engineering model, right? We have a fixed percentage fee for everything that we do. We're not doing anything on hours. We are purely doing things on fixed fees. Even though we do break things down into hours for budget purposes, because we need to have a time allocation associated with this and schedule things and see if we can fit another project into our workflow and into our schedules. If we have the manpower for it, or we need to outsource, whatever that might look like, or we need to hire outside consultants to get these projects done. But again, we're all on a fixed fee for service. So when you go back and look at it, this is how stress affects the body, right? Like skin problems, eczema, dermatitis. You can have like IBS and food allergies and cramps and like all this bad stuff, right? For me, it was a skin issue, right? With shingles, but it was really just like an immune system response of, it manifested in my skin, but it was immune system response, right? Like inflammation in the body. Like you look around the office, there's people that have high blood pressure, they've got heart problems, maybe had a heart attack, somebody maybe had a stroke, or they're just not looking good, right? Like my hair at 25 was gray. Dealing with all this, that is not what a 25-year-old should have, is gray hair. Now that I don't have stress, like my hair is not so gray anymore. So it's a big issue that is prevalent across the industry. You can just look around your own office and see this. Through this whole process, right, we're trying to go back to, we want to save time, we want to live a better life, I want to reduce my stress, improve my health. These are the things that we're looking to do. It's really, really simple. It should not be super hard, should not be super stressful. And again, like we're taking a fee for a service. So we want to get results. That's at the end of the day what we want. So what I tried, so as a department director, I tried and hired more people. That worked. But at the other side of that, you had a problem of hiring, that you now had to create training and figure out how to get them to do what you needed them to do, especially if you're hiring green people fresh out of school. You now need to create a training program, stick them with somebody, pair them so they can learn and grow and improve. With training, with personal issues, sick time, vacation, everything else. So people is a proven process. It works. But again, you're not going to improve your margins, you're not going to improve your profit, and probably you're not going to improve your stress levels if you're a manager or executive, right? It's just going to create more more things for you. But again, something to work through, and definitely a proven process that has existed for a long period of time, but it's really not any sort of improvement or different strategy way of approaching this scaling process. The next thing I tried was improve templates, right? To go through Revit, improve the templates, create workflows. And really, and this goes into developing better families and content and streamlining systems. It's kind of all the same thing, but you can break them up individually. This improving templates piece is, again, like you do something once so that you never have to do it again. That's the whole thing in templates or cover sheets, your schedules, all that type of stuff, is to develop this content so you do it once, never have to do it again. That's the same thing with families, Revit content, anything that you're doing to ultimately produce construction documents. And then streamlining those systems. What are the things that you need to do in forms of communication, talking to your team, all the systems that you need to use to really communicate and design better, more effectively, and not waste time in that process. Through all those things that I tried, through getting through all of those pieces, nothing really showed enough improvement. It was marginal at best. And, you know, like on top of that, you're dealing with personal problems. And through all this stuff, I was going through personal problems. I was dating a girl at the time. I lived in Indianapolis. That's where that office was in Indianapolis. And I was dating a girl that lived in California, right? I had my own personal issues on top of all this, personal stresses, personal problems. And it really led me to my own personal development, personal growth opportunities through everything that was going on, right? Like I couldn't maintain a long distance relationship. It just wasn't in the cards for me. And through all this, I had my epiphany. I had the thing that was that aha moment, right? I've tried all these different things. I've tried improvements in so many different ways, shapes, forms, and nothing really worked. But it was through this personal development process, this epiphany that I had in what can really make this sing, what can make everything go so much better. So in this whole personal development journey, I ran across a multitude of blogs and just, you know, tons of research. I'm going through the internet, but this whole thing called macros, Arch Smarter and Michael Kilkelly led me to this and his macros and doing all this kind of stuff. I was like, wow, software can really help. This was before the days of Dynamo, so it was all in the macro scripting. But like, oh man, there's these things you can do to, like, because you go back to templates process, right? So you come back here to this improved template stuff, do it once and never have to do it again. That's the way like this macro thing worked out, right? Where, hey, if you do this thing once, you're never gonna have to do it again. You write some code and then you just run that for every project, and wow, like things happen. Things are just done for you, which is really cool. And so I learned how to code and all this programming and all this stuff in the back end of Revit, and I was like, oh wow, this is super awesome, like really cool to do. And I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Got it. Victory. This is going to be the way to do things. This is going to be the improvement that I've been looking for to really just make my own personal life better in designing all these buildings, right? From massive high schools to healthcare projects to office buildings, whatever you want to call it, or whatever project types you were working on. Like this was a win, right? To now automate a lot of that process. So it just became better, it became easier, and I didn't have to stress and worry as much. In Revit models, everything, kind of started moving forward. We built of it, and really this took a while. It was years in the making. And through building all these macros, these pieces, I want to make it super, super easy, right? I want to make it a simple, no nonsense process for anybody to use. So I was thinking, like, what is something that all engineers end up using on their projects or are familiar enough with to make it not burdensome, not complicated? So if you can use Excel, right? If you can open a spreadsheet, deal with spreadsheets, you can design a building. That's really how simple this is. If you know how to design a building, you know kind of what goes in each room, and you can use Excel, you can read a spreadsheet, then our solutions are going to be for you. It really becomes that simple, that easy. It's not complicated in the least, right? We're going to use software to automate everything that we do. So a person doesn't have to do it by hand anymore, and we're going to make it really easy to interact with. We're going to go through basically an Excel sheet spreadsheet to make this super easy and digestible for you in your Revit models. So Surfboard is what we created out of this. It was all because, again, sitting there on the beach, having shingles, being in so much pain, so much turmoil, that I needed to find a better way. I needed to get my life together, personally, professionally, and reduce all my stress. So Surfboard is what we ended up creating here at Kowabunga Studios to make engineers' lives better. And ultimately, we want to improve profit margins, profitability, finances, bottom line, for every single firm. So we're not in this just for the engineer. That is, where the pain was developed. But we also want firms to grow and prosper. I've seen so many bottom lines of so many firms that are so abysmal, right? It's like 1% to 5%. Margins are really poor. And frankly, it doesn't do anybody any good. We want engineering firms to make money. We want them to be successful. We want them to thrive. And we want all the people within those firms to live happy, healthy, low stress lives. So Surfboard is what we created. It's going to be this simple, right? You've got basically there on the bottom, you have all your device types, all your systems, and then you're going to have room names, which is what gets populated there. Load your families, and then place all your content throughout a model. So running Surfboard on a 40,000 square foot project, we're going to populate just under 1,500 elements in just a few minutes. This takes like 3 minutes to populate and run. Say it's 10 minutes for the whole thing. Really going to save you so much time across all of your projects. If we look at a bigger project here at, this is a 300,000 square foot model, 320,000 square feet. We're going to put in, 9,600 devices throughout this entire project. We're going to do all your lighting calculations, lay out all your lights, your outlets, your switches, your aux sensors, your smoke detectors, your panels, your horn strobes, and really get you schematic design, that first model, through design documents. So once you start DDs, run this, you're going to be done with DDs in a day to a week, depending on your project size. So it's going to save you a ton of time. And we'll go through some math here in a minute on why this is so beneficial. If we're looking at this, right, we've got our electrical design documents done in minutes, right? 25% of that project is just going to be done in minutes using software and automation. Makes it really simple, really easy for you to get through projects and improve your entire process. Let's just go through some simple math here. You can take this upstairs to the executives, but let's go through the simple math. At this, you're going to be doing 1 million square feet per year. That's designed, and let's just say it's $250 per square foot in build costs. You get a 5% design fee for this type of work, and 10% of that goes to electrical. So it's really $125 per square foot of electrical design fee. So this is your finances for the project, right? You're going to make $125 a foot, so it's $1.25 million in fee that you're going to have a year. So if we look now at savings, what this amounts to is $312,500 saved per year. It's pretty amazing. $312,500 is what you're going to save per year, right? By automating that design document process for your projects. Again, that's a huge, huge number and pretty awesome. So it's 3,100 hours that are saved a year using a $100 billable rate. So it's a person that you just added to your team with just Surfboard, right? Huge amount of savings, huge amount of time that you get back, which means profit, which means you can do more projects, and a whole bunch of things. So big benefit to you and the team. And Surfboard, it never gets sick, it doesn't get tired. There's no personal issues like I had, with my girlfriend, so that didn't help at all. We were married, by the way. That whole thing worked out. Did move to California, but now, right, you're dealing with software. You're not dealing with personnel issues and hiring, firing, or calling in sick, meeting deadlines, all that kind of stuff. So this is really going to help you and your team out a whole bunch. So again, $312,500 value is what Surfboard does if you're doing 1 million square feet. And you can scale that to however big or however many projects that you and your team are doing on a yearly basis. So walking through this, right, what you're going to get and what we're going to offer, right? So again, we're in this to help you guys, and you're going to have to make an investment. So the total value here, $312,500 for the 12-month enterprise account of Surfboard. Also want to introduce you to Skimboard here. So Skimboard is our technology and low voltage solution. So if we look at this, you're going to have, here's our data devices, and then our intercoms, card readers, as well as access points, floor boxes, cameras. We've added data racks, tons of great stuff for you and your team to automate your technology, low voltage security. So if you want to place at doors like card readers, any push to exit, any door monitoring, anything like that, you can basically run this a whole bunch of times, add in the families that you want and you have, and run that through your project. So again, 670 devices in just a few minutes, 40,000 square feet, huge benefit to you and your team, right? It's a huge amount of time savings for you and your team to get through. And then if we look at technology, again, 25% of those projects are just done in minutes. Huge benefit for you. I like to keep it simple. So again, million square feet, $250 a foot, 5% design fee, 5% goes to technology. So you're looking at 62.5 cents per square foot, 625 grand on a million square feet designed a year. 25% savings, that's 156K that's saved a year in design. Pretty cool. 1,500 hours. Again, if you say that it's about 2,000 hours is what a person works a year, you're basically adding a technology designer to your team. So that's what you can think of Skimboard as, is another technology designer, and adding them to your team to get these projects done quickly, simply, and easily. So again, doesn't get sick, doesn't get tired, doesn't call in for personal issues or whatever, and you're going to meet your deadlines, right? That's the benefit of software, and doing it once, keep doing it. So 156, 250 is what this is valued at, 156K. Again, if you're doing a million square feet. So now we're up to a value with these two solutions, two solutions, to just about $500,000, $468,000 is what this is worth if you're doing a million square feet a year. Next, I want to introduce you to Sheets Made Simple. In all of your projects, you've got to create your sheets. So you're going to enter some view names, do your templates, all this type of stuff. And then what a view, sheet, create all that stuff. So it's 250 hours a year. Actually, that should be 225 hours saved per year. So if we're looking at that, it's going to be but 2250, so maybe a few $1,000 less is what that's going to end up being. So still huge number, big value, big benefit to you and the team, saving time, making more money. That's what we're all about. And last but not least that we want to offer you is a custom live training recorded and provided for you. So we'll walk through all this with you and your team so that there's no questions. There's no questions about what we're doing, how we do it, what's provided. All that's going to be provided to you and your team upon investment. Through this, again, we're going to customize all this training, answer all questions that you might have or your team wants to dig into the weeds. We'll help you get through that. $1,500 is that value for custom training, doing it live with you and your team, and we're going to provide that to you so that you always have it to come back to. Now, what you're going to get Skimboard, Sheets Made Simple, Surfboard, live training, right? Big value here. We're talking 490, let's say $2,000, right? 492 grand. Since I made a math error there, before you're ultimately getting for this, for your two disciplines, for electrical, for technology, right? Huge. We're not going to charge you 495 grand. Your price, your investment is just going to be 13,297. A huge benefit for what we're doing, for the time you're going to save, what you're going to get out of it. And it's really going to help you and the team. So you can go to kowabungastudios.com/product/productivity bundle to grab yours. Again, you're going to get a total value of just about $500,000 for only $13,297. You're going to get 12-month enterprise account of Surfboard, 12-month enterprise account of Skimboard, 12-month enterprise account of Sheets Made Simple, and a live training session recorded and provided for you. Again, total value of just about $500,000. And you're going to get it for only $13,297. Here's the link. The link is also below this video. So click the link, invest in yourself and the team, and we look forward to serving you.